It looks like spooky season is here to stay. This is Wednesday, episode 7. We are at a dark and dreary funeral service that has an apocalyptic downpour, and all the main characters are in one place for Mayor Walker's funeral. He was dispatched at the end of the last episode, after insinuating he had evidence of something to do with the Gates mansion. Clearly, he had come too close to the truth and needed to be stopped, and the culprit surely chose a final way to do it. Wednesday is having an inner monologue about how the killer is among them and how determined she is to apprehend them. She looks up and sees a shadowy figure watching her from a distance, and because she is who, she decides to pursue it. When she catches up to the person watching her, it turns out it is Uncle Fester. Is that a real smile we see on Wednesday's dark and sullen face? It seems this family is full of well-established criminals, as Fester has apparently committed a crime and needs a place to lay low for a little while. And he chose the one place he would stick out like a sore thumb. Fester tells Wednesday that the news of a murder mystery at Nevermore influenced his choice of being in Jericho. He knows his way around the place because he spent time there when Gomez attended Nevermore Academy. Wednesday shows him the painting of the monster, and as luck would have it, he knows the monster. It is called a Hyde. Which begs the question, why didn't Wednesday call her family earlier to aid in her investigation? Nevertheless, he tells her there is a book called Faulkner's Diary that would probably have all the answers she is looking for. And this book is available in the Nightshades library. Wednesday has a run-in at Nevermore in the library with our favorite tortured artist and romantic, Xavier Thorpe. And this meeting does not end well as Wednesday suspects him of being the monster. And he is offended that Wednesday suspects him after all he has done to help her. But even he has to admit the evidence supporting this is damning. He is always in the vicinity of monster attacks, appearing after the monster disappears, and he keeps painting very accurate paintings of the monster. Xavier leaves in a huff, and Uncle Fester emerges from the shadows, and addresses the obvious emotional tension between the two that has so many undertones. After a hilarious violent reunion between Fester and Thing, they break into the safe and retrieve the diary. Faulkner describes the Hyde as a genetic mutation that lays dormant in a person's body. However, this mutation can be awakened by hypnotherapy or a traumatic event. This is usually done by someone who wants to awaken the monster. Once the monster is brought forth, it creates a sire-servant relationship between the liberator and the creature. Back in her room, Wednesday finds out from Marilyn that Enid has requested to change roommates. Wednesday and Fester stalk Xavier, driving in a hilarious motorbike and sidecar. Xavier meets with Dr. Kinbot in the woods and tells her he has had a dream in which she is killed. They have been having secret sessions. One must wonder why these sessions need to be so cloak and dagger. In a rare moment of honesty, and perhaps because of the previous episode's events, Wednesday decides to go and tell Principal Weems about Xavier and Dr. Kinbot. But before she can say anything, she finds out Dr. Kinbot is already in the principal's office, suggesting she needs to be sent off for her assessment. Wednesday suggests they do some hypnotherapy, something Dr. Kinbot is adept in, which will go to prove she is the master of the Hyde. For a person who is trying to lay low, Fester is doing a terrible job at it between the 101 Dalmatians motorcycle and this meeting. He and Wednesday sit at a booth at the Weathervane coffee shop. It is very open and mostly glass. But then again, this is the same town that does not see a dismembered hand roaming around. The two meet to discuss the Hyde and its master, and Tyler takes this opportunity to go over and chat, even though they have a forbidden Romeo and Juliet thing going on. Wednesday shows him the drawing, but at that moment, the sheriff walks in, and Tyler immediately says he initiated the conversation. But today the sheriff is not as heated about them hanging out. He has a fugitive to locate. Sheriff Galpin hands out posters of the bank robber, and it is the image of Uncle Fester who has pulled his flawless disappearing act. Seriously, he needs to teach me that. It would get me out of so many parties. Tyler decides this is the ideal moment to ask Wednesday out on a date, and she reluctantly accepts. See, kids' relentless badgering works. The man surely knows his girl. He goes for a romantic picnic with Wednesday at Crackstone's crypt, and they watch Legally Blonde, a horror movie in Wednesday's eyes. They connect, and finally, it's time for that end of the date kiss. But again, Tyler's father disturbs the moment. He is on the manhunt for the robber and thinks he is in the crypt, and he tells them to leave for their safety. It looks like the romance will have to wait. After the date, Wednesday goes to her room to find her room in utter chaos, the diary missing, and the most horrific thing of all thing has been pinned to the wall with a knife. A distressed Wednesday takes the comatose hand to Fester, who manages to revive this with electric shocks. Again, the science of this baffles me. Does Thing have a heart? Is Thing alive? but I must say the moment he is revived, and Wednesday and Thing Touch brought a tear to my eye. Now there is something I thought I would never say. Wednesday is perturbed by the events and goes into revenge mode. She tells Uncle Fester it may be time to leave as the sheriff is on his trail. He agrees to leave the very next day, but not before he tells Wednesday that she is his favorite. Wednesday goes to tell Larissa about the whole situation. She already knows about the monster and what Faulkner says about the hide. However, her main concern is the school, so once again, she is not going to tell the sheriff. So this meeting goes nowhere. It seems like a trend between Principal Weems and Wednesday, doesn't it? After she leaves the principal's office, Bianca and Lucas find Wednesday, and they have some information on the mayor's death. It turns out he was investigating Laurel Gates before his unfortunate demise. This scene unpacks a lot of important information all at once, so buckle up. The Gates mansion was purchased by a 90-year-old heiress who died under mysterious circumstances. Does anyone die in a normal way in Jericho? She left all her fortune to her caregiver Teresa L. Glau. This is a false identity that Laurel Gates uses to plot revenge after her brother Garrett was killed. It looks like the people Laurel has targeted are those who were part of the cover-up, the mayor and the coroner. This fits in with Wednesday's investigation, as she believes the hide is Laurel's murderous minion, but not the cute yellow kind. After this information overload, Wednesday decides to go and confront the woman she believes is Laurel Gates. She barges into her office unannounced with the ballerina box as her piece of evidence. She shows it to Dr. Kinbot and tells her she knows that she is Laurel Gates and accuses her of controlling the monster that is killing people. Dr. Kinbot, who is either a great liar or innocent of the charges levied against her, thinks Wednesday is having a psychotic break and wants to tell Principal Weems. But it looks like we have the answer to our question. She is innocent. The monster kills her right after Wednesday leaves the office. So it looks like Xavier's dream came true after all. Wednesday, unaware the other half of her suspect pool is dead, heads over to Xavier's art studio to confront him and finish her thoughts. When she gets there, she finds all the evidence that would tie Xavier to all the crimes. Wednesday finds Rowan's inhaler, Eugene's glasses, the doctor's necklace, photographs of Wednesday, and a painting of Dr. Kinbot dying. Once again, you would think he wouldn't leave all the evidence in plain sight, especially when he knows he is under suspicion. But Xavier is promptly arrested, and it seems the case is closed. On a happier note, the episode ends with Enid and Wednesday coming together again. It looks like Yoko is not going to work out. Not to stereotype, but nothing good comes out of that name. Remember the Beatles? So Enid encourages Wednesday to get her man. Like every romantic movie, Wednesday runs over to the coffee shop, and the two pick up where they left off and kiss. But because fate is just not on Wednesday's side, the kiss inspires yet another vision, and this time, it reveals that Tyler is the hide.